Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Those of you who are familiar with William Shakespeare will know that it's from Twelfth Night. And it was a harmless statement by a dead dreamer in that play, Malvolio. But it's interesting how this has been enacted in real life with real people. In our part of the world, we have individuals who want to claim that they are great. Indeed, they're imposing themselves on the nation in the name that they are great. And tonight, I wanted to talk about our friend Nelson Chamisa. He claims that he has been touched by God. Everything he does, he claims that God is in it. And this has been going on, in my view, for far too long. We really need to question and examine it. Benjamin, welcome to the program.
Good day to you and good day to our viewers.
What do you think of our friend, this greatness, holiness?
I believe for Nelson Chamisa now, he has gotten to an extent where he has no answers to all his claims. You know, he's claimed much and delivered absolutely nothing, if I may say. If I say very little, I would have given him, a lot. Absolutely nothing. Individuals that see him as if, he has achieved, uh, something, I would like them to show me what he has brought about in terms of change, in terms of, the betterment of Zimbabwe. There's absolutely nothing to say. And now to claim and put, God or the fear of God in the people, because he knows that, once you put the name of God or you invoke God in it, there is that fear that, we cannot go ahead and question a man of God, a man of the cloth. I think that is just rubbish. You put hope, you put your doctrine into people. You made them believe that you are an answer. You made them believe that if they do A, B, C, they will achieve, D, E, F, and you let them down. Come back to the people and say what went wrong, at least. If you don't have a solution, say what went wrong. And then people can start from somewhere. This nonsense of putting God is just like closing a chapter and sealing it and putting the book away. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
That was following his claim that Triple C was going to win 2023 elections. What I find annoying and disappointing about this is not the first time he has done so. In 2018, when he was leader of the MDC Alliance, he also made the similar claim that MDC Alliance had stringent measures to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. And God was in it. And yet, Zanu PF blatantly rigged those elections. And by participating, he had given Zanu PF legitimacy. And he repeated the same thing in 2023. In the picture there, we see Chamisa coming down the mountain. And he has made a number of occasions compared himself to Moses or Joshua, who came down Mt Sinai with the 10 Commandments, the holy man. And Chamisa claims that he too is holy. I think that is what I find so totally unacceptable. He has thrust holiness upon himself and even evoked the name of God, pretending that he himself has been touched by God and everything he does is touched by God, when in reality it is not. It is unfortunate that he is exploiting people who are ignorant, naive, and very gullible. Naive, ignorant, and gullible they may be. The question then is an upstart like Chamisa, does he have the right to exploit those people? And I think the answer has got to be no. No one should have the right to exploit people, particularly when you look at the consequences of his exploitation. By participating in these flawed elections, the people of Zimbabwe have given Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuated the dictatorship, perpetuated the nation's suffering. And it is on that score that I honestly believe we've got to confront Chamisa and stop this madness.
You know, when it comes to the people of Zimbabwe, I must say, I'm very disappointed. You know, look, it is us that are being taken for a fool. Zanu PF is doing the same thing. You know, you find ED, Chiwenga, they're all, robbed up and with the apostles and so forth. You know, here you have Chamisa playing the same trick. And the funny thing is the others on the other divide are pointing fingers at the other to say, people are foolish. Why do Mapostoli allow Zanu PF to do this to them and so forth? Yet Chamisa is doing exactly the same trick. So at the end of the day, it's now coming to us as individuals, as let me say, as Zimbabweans, as the citizens. Why are we being shortchanged, by these crooks? They're offering very, very little. And in exchange, we are giving them immunity. We are giving them a God-like figure. We have now put them to an extent. A lot of people, on social media, have put Chamisa to be a man of God, a prophet, the one that is going to come and deliver Zimbabwe. Yet this guy has lied not once, not twice, a lot of times, even on record. The BBC caught him in a lie. And you could see on the face to say, here is somebody that lied and has no answer whatsoever, for his claim. And we have let him get away with it on many occasions. When are we actually going to start learning and holding these leaders to account? When?
Well, here's the BBC clip that you were referring to.
Ende patakasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana, mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Serious questions were raised about your behaviour in Washington, D.C. You did see some senior people on Capitol Hill, some Congress people, but you also claimed that you'd seen Donald Trump. You claimed you had a conversation with him in which you said he asked you how much you needed to move the country forward. You told him $15 billion, and he said to you that he would provide the money if you won the election. That was not true, was it?
Sangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana, mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
It was not true that you'd seen Donald Trump and that Donald Trump indicated to you that he would provide, if you won the election,
But
$15 billion.
All those statements were said by other people, not what I said.
Akasangana na Trump akatibvunza naye vakomana, mari yamuri kuda kuti nyika ifambe imari.
Well, no, because there is a video which shows you at a rally in January back home in Zimbabwe saying that Donald Trump had pretty much promised you $15 billion. To be clear, because some people in Zimbabwe are still confused, you're now telling me you did not meet Donald Trump.
We did not.
Well, my final word on this one is that we are now going into the 2028 elections. And my personal assessment is that many Zimbabweans out there have learned absolutely nothing from last year's rigged elections. They believed Chamisa's idiotic lie that he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes, #God is in it. And they participated in those flawed elections, giving Zanu PF legitimacy. My view is that most of those people have learned nothing from that experience. So if the 2028 elections come around, I fear that most of those people will be easily conned again to believe Chamisa's idiotic lie and thus participate in a flawed election process to give Zanu PF legitimacy. That is the tragedy of Zimbabwe. We can stop this Zanu PF dictatorship. But as long as we do idiotic things like believing somebody who claims that he has been touched by God and that what his plans are, God is in it, when clearly he's lying, we only are doing ourselves a big disservice. We can stop Zanu PF. the Zanu PF dictatorship. As I've said before, could have done it with the golden opportunity to do so by implementing the democratic reforms, particularly during the 2008 to 2013 GNU. Stopping participating in flawed election is another way out. But we have got the opposition here, the MDC, CCC, who have been conning people to participate in these flawed elections only to give Zanu PF legitimacy. This is a madness that is within our reach to stop. I do not believe that Chamisa has been touched by God. There is nothing in his many promises to suggest that he has been touched by God. He has only used those claims. He has thrust upon himself the holiness for the sake and purpose of conning people. I think we need to be honest with ourselves and start being so naive and gullible that we believe idiotic lies like I've plugged all the vote rigging loopholes just because somebody qualifies it with hashtag God is in it. I repeat, we can stop the Zanu PF dictatorship if we are more subtle and smart. And at the present moment, the single most simplest way of stopping Zanu PF dictatorship is stop participating in flawed elections to give Zanu PF legitimacy. Because we're being conned by an upstart that is holier than Moses himself. That everything it does, God is in it. Even in some of his harebrained schemes. That is my message to the people of Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for listening. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks?
Thank you. In closing, I would say, my fellow citizens, my fellow Zimbabweans, 2028 is not very, very far. And if you think 2028 is very far, add another 5 years on top of that with this Zanu PF regime in power. That is when you realize that our future is really, really at risk, and that of our children. We cannot go through, another period, another term with this Zanu PF leadership. With that being said, this is the time that we need to start putting our house in order. Let us forget about all these other, things that we are being promised, and let's use our brain. Let's analyze for ourselves. Let's think for ourselves. What is it that we are being promised? Is it doable? Is it achievable? That person that has promised us, have they delivered? When you ask some of these questions, I believe you start seeing that really we have been, shortchanged left, right, and center. We need to start holding some of these characters to account. You are saying this, you are claiming this, but you have not delivered any of it. Why? They must be able to come up and say why they keep on saying this. And if they cannot say, something meaningful, it is time to move on. Zimbabwe, I've said this again, Zimbabwe is not short of presidential candidates. Zimbabwe is short of men and women of honor. Men and women that will do the right thing. And we know what the right thing is. We have said it over and over again. And not only us. Sadak said the same thing. Dr. Mumba said the same thing. A lot of outsiders have said the same thing, but we ourselves cannot see it because we have tunneled ourselves into believing nonsense coming from our different, characters, shady characters. I really hope that we start thinking for ourselves as we start preparing now for 2028. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. And those of you who were able to join us, thank you for joining us. Have a good day.